Cinema Worms.
Discussing everything from Grima Wormtongue to the Shy Halib.
I'm Sabib.
And I'm Linz.
And this is Cinema Worms Podcast. In the original Jurassic Park, the Brachiosaur is CGI, but the Triceratops is an animatronic model filmed in studios.
Today we're going to be talking about Jurassic World Rebirth. Now, I'm sure you're aware of the franchise. It started in 1995 with Jurassic Park, which was based on the Michael Crichton novel of the same name and which became a treasured classic of 90s cinema, one of my favourite films of all time. Now, by this point, it's 2025, we have been through some reboots and some horrible iterations, which I just don't want to talk about because they make me pretty mad. Suffice to say that Jurassic World, which is the new franchise name, it builds on the premise of what has gone before. Rebirth basically sets up a premise where scientists who were attempting to engineer a truly monstrous and terrifying creation in order to draw larger crowds at the entertainment park in the previous films. Obviously, a disastrous result there. This film focuses on the dinosaur rejects from those experiments. So mutants who were left here to just kind of die, like in the way that you might just leave something in your fridge that you don't really want to throw out, but it's kind of a sunk cost fallacy at that point. It's
an analogy. You might want to eat it later.
You might, but the longer it goes, the more you're kind of put off. It's sort of grey. It's a bit awful. Jurassic World Rebirth stars Jonathan Bailey, who is wearing, for I must quote pop culture whenever possible, slutty little glasses. Bailey plays Dr. Henry Loomis, who has been recruited by middleman Martin Krebs, a name which, if you didn't do biology in high school, screams villain, and if you did, reminds you of the Krebs cycle. Or possibly SpongeBob SquarePants. Krebs is played by Rupert Friend, and he wants Loomis to become part of his basically Jurassic heist team, which also includes Scarlett Johansson's character Zora Bennett, the worst use of the surname, and Mahershala Ali's boat captain Duncan Kincaid, in order to supply Krebs' employer with dinosaur DNA extracted from 3 specific species. The plan is to basically get in, get some blood, and then get the hell out and deliver the precious cargo so the evil Big Pharma can create, like, heart medicine and probably sell it for ridiculously high prices. Oh, Dr. Abraham, I would love to hear your opinions on the heart medicine that could be, made for humans based on dinosaur DNA.
Curious. I'm not sure exactly how that would work.
You don't know the intricacies of this process?
Or how and what I love is that they are not even trying to justify
They're not. There's no
just for the best.
No. Everything's very yes, it's very complicated, but someone else will deal with that. I'm sure they thought they were pretty smart by putting that in. But of course, an adventure through dinosaur territory is never easy, and the team is also joined by a family whose boat capsized during, shall we say, a mildly turbulent event.
Yes, so this family basically just sort of crisscrosses paths with the main scientist mercenaries trying to get some blood from living dinosaurs because that's what they need. They need to be alive because of the hemoglobin, etc.
Oh, there is medical behind it.
Yeah, I forgot. They talked about hemoglobin.
Jonathan Bailey does explain it for 1 single second, yes.
Yeah, because we've why? Why are you
Just
here?
Just look at his glasses and don't think too hard about the plot.
Yes. Jonathan. I'll get to him. But yeah, the family really, why are they sailing in the middle of the ocean? It's dangerous. And then also they know about dinosaurs, but they're like, yeah, but they're not going to be here. They're barely, it's a big ocean.
It's a big ocean.
Yeah, they regret it. But then, they do get saved by the scientist crew and then end up having to sort of deal with them as they both try to survive the strangely bloodthirsty dinosaurs. Every single dinosaur they encounter, almost, maybe, except one or two, then there's the cute one, are completely...
the cutest little merchandising opportunity.
Yeah. Are completely ravenously violent. So that does keep the stakes up.
Not only are they violent, they're basically all, Michael Myers or Jason Voorhees. They lock onto a target and they never ever let it go.
Ever stop.
They're not just dinosaurs. They're dinosaur serial killers.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, oh my god, they just like, it's not even like some are a little more aggressive than others. They're all hyper aggressive, and then you have to escape for your life every single time. Yeah. So, and I was looking into this film a bit. So I've seen the originals. There were a few with Chris Pratt, you saw, and then this is, I didn't see them. This is a reboot where they're like, nah, Jurassic Park, it's back. Not with the bad Chris Pratt ones. We're going to bring in Scarlett Johansson and Mahershala Ali and Jonathan Bailey. And it's a perfectly, like, fun, in my opinion, serviceable movie. I do not find it offensive. And I enjoyed it. Now, a lot of the enjoyment is literally, you have the same screenwriter as the original Jurassic Park, David Cope, who maybe we've discussed. He writes a lot of screenplays. He's a major screenwriter. Yes. Mm-hmm. He wrote the original with Michael Crichton. He wrote this. He wrote Black Bag, Presence, things we've seen recently.
So he can do well, Mr. Cope.
And I think he basically is like going through the books, going through the first movie, and they're calling back to the first movie and just kind of recreating what worked there. But it's kind of like, it's just an imitation.
So the problem... one of the things that actually did work in the previous films is that, having worked in a corporate global environment, I fully believe that regardless of how much profit a dinosaur park was making, the shareholders would always demand more, and so you would be pressured to make more and more exciting species, or start screwing around with things and kind of cutting some corners. That seems legit to me. A lot of the rest of the premise did not. But you then, of course, have these rejects. It sort of works a little bit. The problem was, the first thing I thought when I actually saw the main dinosaur antagonist here was just sort of a slightly surprised quote from the animated sitcom King of the Hill, "The boy ain't right." It looks like Alien and Predator had a threesome with a T-Rex. In fact, the creature is called a D-Rex, and annoyingly, they never explain this name. I have to assume they were going for Deus Rex, aka God King. If God was sort of sloth-like and vaguely puzzled and kind of menacing in like the same way that a cow might be, like quite a big cow, if you climb into a farmer's field to take a shortcut, I found the actual single T-Rex, which does appear early in the film, to be far more frightening. And I don't want to spoil or anything, but I did put my head in my hands at one point, and it's because, look, a T-Rex has one of the most powerful bite forces of any terrestrial creature that has ever lived on our planet, right? Ever.
Yeah, coming in with the facts.
And the bite force, roughly, as far as I can recall, about 6.8 tons, which is about almost 12,800 pounds. The idea that it cannot slice through human-made plastic like a cheese straw is just unhinged.
When was there plastic? Oh, we can't spoil it.
Something that happens near a river, shall I say, without spoiling it.
Oh yeah.
And I literally
Sorry,
just sort
I was like, what are you talking about?
briefly put my head in my hands, just like, okay,
and it's kind of like the kids in the first film when the T-Rex comes down on them,
doesn't bite through,
and they're like, hold the glass.
But to be fair, it's not great, but in that moment you can see, because of the way the car is structured in the roof, the T-Rex's muzzle is the snout is kind of inside. It actually can't open its jaws.
Yeah.
It's only like butting. It's not actually biting at all. It's just poking. So I will grant, and I will die in the hill of the original, but it's just, I know that you like this film as a big Jurassic Park fan. Like, I don't really want to see a film that is just serviceable. And it kind of was. Everyone's mostly doing their best and having a relatively fun time. I think, unfortunately, the addition of Scarlett Johansson, I know she campaigned to be in this, but they kind of just, I don't know what this character was all about, changing her mind very quickly for absolutely no reason at all. Her motivations were one thing and then another, without like giving us much kind of grace to kind of see any exploration of that character or how she had an arc. I mean, if she was just kind of taken in by Jonathan Bailey's slutty little glasses, I think we could all understand that. But it just... She was a little bit, and weren't we all? But it was a little bit disappointing for me. It could have been so much more.
Yeah, and it's not that she's not a great actor. And
it's not all her fault.
I would agree to the writing, maybe, and kind of what they think, what they're trying to do with this character. She's really badass with the action scenes, but the first like whole section of the film too, I'm like, why is she smiling at this moment? She just keeps smirking.
But she's supposed to be like this kind of international sort of renegade that like does things and does cool, and like basically is like some kind of smuggler in the modern day. And I'm like, stop grinning at everyone. Like, you're not a secretary paid to smile. Like, you can just be yourself. Can you not? Were they like making, I don't remember seeing any of the men smile this much. I really hope they were being nice to her on set or we're gonna have some words. But like, this so cheery disposition. You don't need to be Mary Poppinsing it if you're a smuggler. It's cool. You can just do your thing.
Yeah. Jonathan Bailey, I think he really was like the best.
Yeah.
The best as in I most believed his character. Mahershala is good too.
He's consistently good.
Yeah. But Jonathan Bailey really...
It's a shame because I now expect him to always be great.
Yeah. There's multiple Oscars.
Yes, exactly. So I'm like, no, you're always good. I expect it of you. You achieve high grades. I expect it of you. I hold everybody else to maybe lesser standards because of that, but yeah, it just, and you know, we did see it in 4DX, which we don't see a lot of films in, and it's a fun, shaky experience. It certainly added to something. The scene with the one T-Rex was really exciting. That was the most excited I was throughout the whole film. Maybe not all of the shaking was the chair. You know, there was a genuine amount of excitement and thrill and fear kind of going on with that scene as I shakily tried to eat some birthday cake.
Well, this was having some really sweet birthday cake.
It was pretty good birthday cake. It's worth mentioning on the pod. But yeah, I think if you are a big fan of Jurassic Park films, then you're probably going to go and see this anyway. But do temper your expectations. It is better than the Chris Pratt ones by quite a bit. But do not expect a return to the originals.
So today we're going to be talking next about M3gan 2. You confused me because you liked... Okay, so M3gan is spelled
I've been calling it
M3gan, and you like to call it...
M3gan 2.0. This is my fault, I'm sorry. But look, it's the same with the Vivitch. If you put those letters in, I'm gonna pronounce all of them. It's M3gan, and I stand by that.
I will have you know the Wikipedia specifically says it is pronounced Megan, unquote.
Wikipedia can go fuck itself.
Well, M3gan 2 is a sequel to the 2022 sci-fi horror comedy. And I'm just going to quickly tell you what that one was about so you understand where we're jumping off from. So the first one was a kind of an unexpected smash hit. And it's this film about an artificial intelligent doll that was designed by Allison Williams scientist Gemma. She's suddenly having to take care of her niece Katie, spelled Cady.
I know.
I didn't know that.
Isn't that how it's spelled in Mean Girls, Lindsay Lohan's character?
I refuse to remember that. No, I don't know about that. Maybe. I bet you that's true. Anyway, so she's like a scientist. She's working in this AI robot field. She creates this robot to protect her niece and also like parent her for her. And then M3gan develops agency and becomes evil and goes on a murder spree and then to kill her at the end.
Who could have seen that coming?
Yeah, exactly.
Certainly not Gemma, idiot.
So definitely after I introduce it, I'd love to know your thoughts on M3gan 1 versus M3gan 2. So the beginning of M3gan 2.
Please don't feel like you need to keep saying it. I just like making fun of it.
Yeah. Is that she's supposedly dead, but we start off with this scene of a U.S. Army operation somewhere in the Middle East, I won't name, and she's, M3gan's gone, but they have this new android, right, that the U.S. Army is using to infiltrate this place and basically, like, get some terrorists or whatever. Confused banter? It's Amelia. Autonomous Military Engagement Logistics and Infiltration Android.
And do you know what that is? That is an acronym. Not an initialism. but a real acronym. Not a good one, but it was an acronym.
Yeah,
I will give them
pretty on the nose.
a single point for that.
And then Amelia breaks free and starts like going on this mysterious mission of killing people and tracking down those who are involved in her making, and some other mission that's not clear. So then it gets Allison Williams' Gemma involved again, because the FBI / government's like, oh, Amelia's coming for you. And guess what? Amelia was made from the code / blueprint that M3gan was made from. Did you sell this to the Chinese? So yeah, that gets Amelia involved. And then now her niece Katie is like, oh, what's going on with M3gan? And also I code and do stuff. And then you have some of the same other characters who used to work with Allison Williams. So Brian Jordan Alvarez, etc. We have very funny Alton Appleton, played by Jermaine Clement. He's like this basically Elon Musk evil billionaire.
And he has wonderful, very clear embedded abs.
Yeah, they're like fake abs.
They were genuinely one of the scariest things that happened in this film, was seeing his horrible surgical abs. Oh. Not a pleasant sight.
Oh my god.
Well done.
Yeah, so basically we go from there as... and then of course, M3gan does manage somehow to be involved again. She's not really dead.
Well, of course, because who else could properly protect Katie from this horrible threat of Amelia, if not M3gan, the only other like thing on the planet that has the potential to go toe to toe with this new android.
Yes.
So they decide that sure, we might as well bring the murderer back, because why not? The problem with M3gan 2.0 is a lot of the things that worked in the first film, like the premise being kind of unexpected, the idea that it's sort of silly, it's a bit campy, it was quite funny. She does a little dance that kind of became iconic. They have tried to recreate for this film. The problem is, frankly, myriad. It didn't work. It hasn't been so much of a flop exactly. I think it's just not made as much money as they wanted. But the thing is, the film is not very good, and it doesn't do a lot of... I've been having a lot of problems with Blumhouse lately, because the raft of things they've put out for the last year have not been great. I have massive issues with Wolfman, as you know, and we didn't see a couple of the others, but I'm hearing that they have not been kind of received as well as they'd want. One of the problems is they tried to turn this film, the sequel, they tried to turn M3gan into like a good guy now. So now she's gone from being the antagonist to the only protector. She is Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, essentially. And it doesn't really work, because we didn't really root for her in the beginning. She was Chucky. She was like a horrible little demonic doll thing that killed people. How can we root for her? And they wanted it so clearly to be like a kind of superhero film. They also released it summer, so it's between massive blockbusters. It's coming out just after Sinners, just around the time the Jurassic World Rebirth is coming out, right before Superman. There's a couple of Disney sort of Pixar things out at the moment as well. It's just a really, really bad time to try and land something like this. It just doesn't work. It's also nowhere near as funny as it really thinks it is as well. And every time I saw the trailer with that like horrible kind of girl boss line, like, hold on to your vaginas, I was like, do you mean your vulvas? Or do you mean that people should actually try to hold on to their own vaginas? Because I have some logistical questions. Also, this isn't a funny line, and I hate it. Why are you doing this to me? However, the film itself does have a couple of funny moments. I'll grant it that, but it was nowhere near as funny as it should have been, or it thought it was.
Again, me with my Philistine sort of taste,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, it's perfectly serviceable, but it's
serviceable is a bad word. Yeah, it's not good. It suggests that it performs a function. It's not wonderful.
It does. I think it's very much like a watchable movie. I have very much hated other films more. So it's like entertaining in a way that, again, maybe it's not similar to the Jurassic World film, but has like a hollowness to it, because it's kind of created
for... a great word.
For the lowest common denominator. So it's like, it doesn't really have edge anymore.
You're right, yeah.
Yeah, and it doesn't, in my opinion, sort of know whether it wants to be funny, but some people were saying, oh, maybe it's because it's too funny or camp. But I'm like,
It's
it
not
should have
too
been more
funny.
It should have been funnier. They were
Dear
holding
God.
back. They were like not wanting to make too many jokes. Because you're like, this is a superhero film.
Please make more jokes. Please make better jokes. No, absolutely not.
What was the superhero film we just saw? The new, it's quote unquote new Avengers, but was the Thunderbolts.
Thunderbolts. Yes.
That
genuinely funny.
That
Enjoyed it.
ish was so funny.
Yeah.
That was really fun. It's not like the best superhero movie ever made, but it was hilarious. So why not just lean into the hilarity?
Yeah.
Even more. And I know you're going to be like, oh yeah, it was violent enough. And I'm like, could have been more violent.
No, I will never say that. I absolutely could have been more violent. I would have liked them to crank that up. But again, they wanted to keep it as a 15. They're trying to appeal to the widest possible audience. So they're dialing down all of the things that made the original film so unexpectedly popular in order to get as many butts and seats as they could to get more money. And that, oh my God, companies... Like, it never works. Why do you keep doing this thing? You're like, if we just dilute it, we'll get more money. And I'm like, no, you will just lose the money that you have. You will lose the audience that you have. It never works. You keep trying it. It never works. It never will work. It's stupid. Knock it off. Make some good horror, Blumhouse. Come on. I know you can do it.
I think we'll have to check. I feel like this budget was around or even less than the budget for Wolfman, which is insane.
Wolfman was an insane budget for... Oh, I could have made like 4
film.
good films for that.
Yeah,
I'm
very
not even
dreary,
joking.
Unfortunately. Yeah, what would you have liked to... Let's do our obnoxious thing where we say, what would be your take on M3gan 2?
What would I like to change about it?
Yeah, like what would be the approach? Like comedy, simpler presence. Oh, by the way, premise. The premise for this is like quite huge. It's like world stakes of AI, evil AI, basically.
I mean, I think I would have toned down some of the kind of unnecessary stuff around, obviously we don't want to do too many spoilers, but just around like kind of the beginning and the setup, and like I would have got to it a bit quicker. I think I would have allowed Katie to have more personal one-on-one time with Megan. It feels like she gets 1 or 2 scenes and then it's mostly Megan interacting with Gemma. And that feels really frustrating because I just don't really like the way Alison Williams is playing this character. Very much. She feels like Timu Kobe Smulders to me. I'm sorry, it's just really irritating, and I'm like,
Savage.
It is a little bit sauvage. I just feel sort of annoyed by it. I don't really care about Gemma, and the thing is, Gemma is kind of the protagonist. She is the reason that Megan existed in the first film. It's now mostly about her. Everything centers around her. She is the kind of focal point of this kind of mind map of stuff. It's not really about Katie, but it should be. That is the whole point. And if you want us to believe that Megan is protecting this kid, oh my God, let us see her with this kid more. Like, you're too busy trying to like be funny and be cool and be something that you're just not doing. Like, let us actually see like Megan having the opportunity to do some bad things that she, you know, would have done in the first film in order to protect Katie, but then maybe think twice about it. That was what was lacking for me, because they do certain things to modify her behavior and to control her, and they never give her an opportunity to sort of show that she's learned, which makes the eventual payoff of the film feel emotionally completely unsatisfying. I feel like all I've done is look at a dessert through a plate glass window and then someone took it away from me. It's just, I didn't get to taste it, and it wasn't earned. That's what I would have done. And it is obnoxious to sit here and say that, because it's hard to make a film. It's hard to write a script. It's hard to make everything, you know, kind of come together. It's really easy to sit in an armchair and play critic. But it also is frustrating when you see in hindsight, like, damn, you could have done some things and it would have produced a better overall product.
Yeah, maybe a more down-to-earth story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's, you've hit on the core of it there. I think you're right when you say that the story feels actually really big. It's like the world, the UN, everyone's gonna, but actually the whole point of this is about this bond between this AI, this sort of self-governing, self-aware AI, and this girl whose parents died in the first film, and she's grieving, but like she's still grieving a little bit, and she's growing up now. She's obviously much older. She's kind of a teenager, where she's 12. She's navigating stuff. Like I would have liked to see how is she handling this almost turn into adolescence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let us know what your thoughts are if you happen to see it.
If you see M3gan, how are you pronouncing it? Let us know in the comments.